Good morning, good morning, good morning. How are you, Anastasia?
Hi, I'm good. I am good. How are you, Miss Deborah?
I'm doing great this morning. Welcome, everybody, to Build Your Best Life with Coach Deborah D. Smith. Um, of course, this morning we are here with Real Talk with Deborah and Anastasia. You know, it's all about real people, real topics, and real talk. So we are excited to be here again. We just seems like we're not here often enough, but once a month we are here to enlighten you on some topic that we think that is very important and interesting to our audience. So this morning we're talking about getting some feedback. This morning we're talking about what's for dinner. What's for dinner? You know, our real talk aims to have a relevant conversation about critical and relevant topics. So as we talk about what's for dinner today, you know, we have on our plates a lot of things that are essential, but we want to make sure that it is suitable for us. We like it, it's cooked right, and it's manageable. If we have salad or any other food that is too large to pop in our mouths, what do? We have to cut it down into bite-sized pieces. We don't want to choke or have indigestion issues later, right? So you know the adage, how do you eat an elephant? Right. One bite at a time. So today's menu is goals. We often have important goals that we can't reach in one task. It can't be managed in that manner. Therefore, we have to break them down into smaller, manageable tasks. There are millions of kids returning to school. Many are going to college for the first time, which is very different than high school. So, we want to provide you with insight. We also want to assist individuals with other significant goals, such as purchasing a home, maybe saving enough for their child's college tuition, housing and essentials, saving for a trip on that bucket list, saving for emergency funds, or working on a thesis. Those things are significant and have to be broken down. So we want to make sure that you have some great information this morning. What are your thoughts, Anastasia?
Well, I think that when we're trying to do things and we're trying to set these goals for ourselves, we need to make sure that it's something realistic. First of all, it's something that we can actually do. Like, you're not going to tell yourself that at the end of this school year, I'm going to turn into an A student when you know that you've been hanging around that F and D mark for all of your primary school, high school years up until now. It's going to require more than just the little 9 months for you to pull yourself up and pull yourself through. So if you're realistic about your goals and you're just saying that, you know what, I want to improve, start out with the improvement. And then there's the improvement to what level, you know? Let's just make sure that we are looking at things that we can actually do. And we don't want to limit ourselves, but we don't want to put our basket so high that we never reach it.
Excellent, excellent. Well, you know, an excellent way to explain breaking down goals is to provide examples, right? So, Anastasia is going to discuss student goals, their relevance, and how to break them down into manageable pieces. And then I will provide an example of a goal, maybe for a more mature, settled individual, a goal that they may have that they need to break down. All right. So, Anastasia.
Okay, so I wanted to break this down from different levels of schooling. I want to start out with preschool. Now, I know you're saying, okay, so what goals can you possibly have for preschool? Like, they're babies. We think of them as babies. I know that as an educator, I am familiar with the ABECA curriculum more so than any other. There are some other great ones around, but that's the one that my school uses. And so we consider them preschool all the way from age 1 to age 5. Now, in the midst of those years, there's a lot that can be done and a lot that should be done. There's potty training going on at age 2. There is letter and number recognition going on at age 2, going into 3, individual letter sounds that's coming up, and then putting things together to make words and being able to, use your fingers, count on your fingers to be able to solve simple addition and simple subtraction and things like that. All of those things are done within those preschool years. And so the goal should not be just, I need my baby to adjust to the environment. Oh, no, when they get to primary school or elementary school, that's when they're actually going to start doing stuff. No, it's foundation. Preschool has its purpose. When you start the child off in the routine of, okay, when we get homework, we do it as soon as we get it. We don't wait until the weekend or Sunday night before school starts again. We get it done the same day that we got it so that we can have that out of the way. And then guess what? You get to have a lot of fun. You get to not worry about it anymore. Start those types of routines. When a child has a difficulty with their teacher, oh, mommy, teacher spanked me today, or teacher put me in timeout and whatever else. This is the point in their life when you start to talk through those type of things. Okay, why did teacher put you in timeout? What happened? Oh, well, I only hit Johnny. You only hit Johnny? That's all that you did? And I tear his paper. And so, start building those conversations, teaching them how to be accountable to their actions, to understand that there are consequences to actions sometimes, and that, things won't always go your way. That's the preschool life. The goal is not only to get them to adjust to the environment, but also for them to get the academic, social, and emotional growth that's necessary for the next level. So when we get into elementary school, primary school for us, then we're thinking about harder work, more subjects, a bigger routine. So you have to set another set of goals. You have to make sure that your child is a part of this goal setting. At the preschool level, you're setting that goal for them. You know what it is that you would like to see done and what you would like achieved at the end of their time period after they've already turned 6 and graduated and had their little ceremony and everything. And you were able to sit there and cry and invite all of your cousins and everybody from the neighborhood to come and watch the preschool graduation. That goal was yours. But when they get into elementary school, they're coming to that age of being able to set their own goals and being able to make some decisions for themselves. So, lower elementary, it may not be so much of a conversation. You know your child. And so they may be mature enough to be able to have that conversation of what it is that they want to do, what they would like to achieve by the end of either that year or those 3 years or their entire elementary school career. They may be mature enough to have that conversation in lower elementary, but they may not be. And either way, you still need to make sure that you're talking to your child and having a conversation with them, even if you're guiding it a little bit, to make sure that their input is accounted for as they move through and as these goals are set. I have a cousin who knew she wanted to be a doctor ever since she was in preschool. Every time that she went to the store, she cried for the doctor set. Every time that it was career day, she dressed up as a doctor. She had her oversized white shirt on and then eventually she actually got the little miniature doctor's coat and everything like that. Like, she always knew that's what she wanted to do. And today, she's a doctor. She never deterred from it. She stuck with it. It was an early decision, but it was a strong decision in her head. And her parents fostered it and encouraged it, and she followed all the way through. That may not be your child's journey. Please note that is actually a very, very rare occurrence that a child is going to know what it is that they want to do at that early stage in their lives. But as their parents, it's our job to try to make sure that we are encouraging of the positive things that they want to do, no matter how many different positive things it is that they're going to want to get into. If they don't try it, they won't know if they like it. It's just like food. We're talking about what's for dinner. We're talking about what's on our plate and being able to manage the bites that we have in front of us, not filling up your plate so heavily that you can't get through it, and not putting so little on your plate that you're left hungry and starving after you've already had your meal. You know, you got to proportion it and make sure that you're doing what is best for you. You've gotten what is needed for you. And at the elementary level, you are assisting your child with this process of planning and figuring out where they want to go, what it is that they want to do. And so elementary is pure guidance. It is the beginning of that dialogue. It is the beginning of how are we going to get there? What steps do we need to take? What clubs do we need to join? All of that type of thing. Now, high school. For us, we do 7 through 12 all as junior and senior high. I know that it comes different for middle school and then senior high. Miss Deborah, is that right?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. So but it's still all pretty much the same thing, you know? When those years come around, that's when your kid gets testy. That's when body is changing and attitude is changing along with it. That's when you're going to look at your kids sometimes and say, who is this little monster? Like, who is this person? That is not the same person that I knew for the past 13 years. When 14 hit, it just something else happened and you don't know why. They're still the same person. They're still the same kid. And what you instill in them at the beginning of their lives, if you remain consistent with it, it's going to follow through with them straight through to the end of their lives. And so the way that I mentioned, starting out with preschool and getting them to know and understand that when we get homework, we do it right away. We don't wait until the weekend and the Sunday before school comes back in to do the homework. That type of routine follows through. When we get into primary school and we're teaching them to consider their goals and consider what they want to do and the steps that they're taking to get there, that follows through into high school. And so the steps that would be needed at the high school level would be to start it with the end in mind. At the 7th grade level, middle school level, junior high level, at that point, you have to figure and have that conversation with them, help them to figure through the conversation. Okay, at the end of this high school career, where do we want to go and what do we want to do? And then keep reminding them, oh, my kids got sick of me with this. But you have to keep on reminding them, okay, if this is the end goal, if by the end of senior high, 12th grade, this is where you want to be, you have to make sure that you are consistent in doing these things. You know that you want to be a lawyer. You know that you got to make sure at some point through high school, you join the debate team, you join the Gavel Club, you join those organizations that would foster that type of environment, that will put you in a room with like-minded persons to be able to challenge you and continue you on the journey that you've started. So you have to remember to start with the end in mind. If it is that you know you want to be a plumber, you're not going to join the high school programs that are dealing with accounting or that are dealing with nursing. That's not what you're doing. You're going to join the programs that deal with plumbing, that deals with construction, that deals with architecture, because you're going to need to know the setup of the house and how to read plans and all the rest of those things. So if your end goal is when I'm done with high school, whether it is that you're going to further your education forward or you're going to start out with an apprenticeship or whatever it is. But if the end goal is for me to be a plumber, I have to start making those steps now. I have to start figuring out, okay, this school offers this program, this place does these things, these workshops on the weekends, those type of things. These are high school conversations. And I know that it may sound like, oh, but in high school, they're only 14, they're only 15 and stuff like that. 14 and 15 are decision-making ages.
Yes.
We don't want to accept it. It's not what we want to hear, but they are decision-making ages. And in the same way that you're teaching your kids to be accountable to their decisions early on in preschool and elementary, we have to make sure that we continue that thought process going into high school and adulthood. Because when they start making their own decision and you've been done with the guidance part of it, which was done in elementary school, and they're now at the high school stage where they're actually making decisions and having to follow through with them. There's an level of accountability that they will need to have in place already in order for them to be successful with it. So that would be the first part, starting with the end in mind, and then the planning and preparation that is required to execute. We're living in a microwave generation.
Mm-hmm.
Everything has to be instant. Everything has to be right now. If it takes me more than 3 weeks to do something, I don't want to do it anymore. That's the mindset and mentality of the kids that we have these days. They want to be a YouTube star. They put out 3 videos on YouTube. And if they don't have 100,000 followers, they're not putting out any more videos. Come on. You've got to plan. You've got to prepare. You've got to process and stick with the process. So that would be their second step, making sure that, okay, I've decided that I wanted to be a plumber. I have to plan and prepare for it. Where am I going to go in order to practice? What type of money is going to be made at the end of this? How much does a plumber actually make? How much do I have to invest in my education? How many levels are there for me to be considered an expert in this field? If being an expert is what you want to be. Anything that you start with, you should want to be the very best at it. Let's continue to instill that in our kids. Let's make sure that that's a part of their mindset. Anything that you're doing, make sure that you want to be the very best at it and not just doing it, but doing it well and doing it the best that you can. So plan and prepare. Make sure that the little steps are in place. Make sure that you join that club. Make sure that you watch that YouTube video. Make sure that you read that book. Audible is an awesome thing. There are other programs out there that will read the book to you. You don't even have to read the book for yourself anymore. We are living in an awesome day and age. Someone will read the book to you, but make sure that you're taking in the information so that as you go on, as you continue to take this journey into the career path that you want or to the goal that you've set, you make sure that you are as knowledgeable about it as possible. Speak to somebody who's already in the field. Make sure that this is something that you truly want to do. Let them tell you about the ups and downs. Conduct an entire interview. Entirely. I don't know who's going to want to be able to tell you about their money, but I'm sure that everything else, all the other parts of it, the ups and downs, they're going to be willing to tell you about it. Even if it is that you want to be a barber, start hanging out at the barber shop.
Mm-hmm.
Start hanging out there. Let them see your interest. Let them see that you're passionate about it. And if you truly want it, if it's really how far you want to go and what you want to do, then it's going to show through. You're going to see it coming out of your pores. It's going to be the topic of conversation every time that you speak. It's going to be known about you. So make sure that you are starting with the end in mind. That's the first thing. Your end goal should always be a part of the steps that you're taking, and then plan and prepare those steps properly. Make sure that you are following through in a timely manner and staying focused on what it is that you want to achieve. When you get to the college level, my only advice for you is don't get distracted. Remember your why. Remember why you came there. First of all, remember your parents' money that's helping you to be there. It's a sacrifice. The money that's being spent on your college tuitions, it could be spent on a car. It could be spent on an apartment. It could be spent on a business. When your parents have invested in you and have taken the time out to make sure that you are able to do what's necessary in your life, be appreciative of that. But my only advice in college years would be don't get distracted. Don't allow yourself to get distracted. And remember your why. Remember why you enrolled in this school. Remember why you chose this as your major. Remember why this is what you want to do and what you want to be. And keep that in your mind. Don't allow anyone to distract you. Don't allow anyone to pull you on the sidelines or make you feel like you're not worthy of what it is that you're trying to do and they're trying to be.
All right. All right. Excellent, excellent tips. Uh, so I know that those will really benefit us, everyone out there trying to get rid of the back echo. But those are some very, very good tips. So hopefully those will um, benefit everybody. I want to go back to some of the comments that you put out there. One of them, when Anastasia was talking about the young lady that began early on dressing the part of being a physician. That's what she wanted to be, and she ended up being it. Curly says that's the same thing that went on with her grandson at age 5. What said he wanted to be a preacher, and now at age 25, that's what he is, and he is a great one at that. And then Cynthia, she said that teaching the child there's accountability for the actions at school as well as at home is important. So many people nowadays are so quick to address the issue with the teacher in a negative way and not address the true issue of what the actual circumstance may have been. And that is so true. But I know when my kids were in school, I always would question them before I went anywhere. Now you better tell me the truth because I'm going to school. Blah 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 blah. So and that's just really sad that we immediately take the side of the child over an adult. But we need to, ask those questions, have that conversation. Now you better tell me the truth because if I get to school and there's something different, the circumstances for you are going to be a little rougher. But that's one thing that's a big, big issue that I've seen time and time again. And then I want to give a shout out to everybody out there before I get started here. Good morning, Peggy, Cynthia, so Anna out there, Curly, and Dan. Thank y'all so much for tuning in because you could have been anywhere else. We should really appreciate it, right, Anastasia?
Yeah, we do. We do. Taking the time to come and hang out with us.
Yes. All right. Well, as I said earlier, there's a lot of things that are maybe not on a student basis, but for more mature adults that can be a large goal for you. That could be taking a vacation that's on your bucket list that you always wanted to take, like going to Paris, Hawaii, Alaska, something like that. Coming up with an emergency fund. There are many, many things, but the one that I took to make it as an example is purchasing a home. Because I don't know about the Bahamas, but everywhere I look in the city of Jacksonville, a new community is coming up. And at first I was like, what in the world? Why are they building so many homes? But research says, and the news media has been on, and they're saying that we are so far behind on housing that there are not enough housing for people, because we have a lot of people moving to Florida. And I guess that is the facts behind this, because as soon as they build, they're filling them up. So I selected purchasing a home. Now, purchasing a home is a significant goal, you know, and especially in the economy that we have today, it's just horrible. But now there are several ways that you can do this. Now, if you wake up one morning and say, wow, you know what? I'm going to buy a home. And you just get in your car and you go out and you start looking, you find a home, you make that deposit, fill out the paperwork. Once you get approved, you sign the contract, and you are just so happy. Oh, I'm blessed. I'm blessed. The Lord has blessed me. I got this house. Oh, I'm just so happy. That was not the way to do that. Because you may have a nightmare in the future based on what you just did. You didn't do anything that was a significant goal, and you took it like it was just a little small goal. Just go out here and take care of it. When you have, remember I talked earlier about when you have that salad on your plate or a big piece of meat, you don't just take that and stick it in your mouth. You got to cut it up and get it in the sizes that you can manage. Well, purchasing a home is the same way. You need to break that down in a way that you can manage it. So there is a much better way to do that to avoid mistakes in the future. So you want to break it down into steps. You want to ensure that those steps are SMART goals, specific, manageable, attainable, realistic, and time-based. So let's get started. So what's my goal? Yes, I want to purchase a home. But why am I purchasing this home? Is it going to be a starter home? Am I moving from an apartment to just a starter home? Am I upsizing because my family is growing? Am I downsizing because all the kids are gone? We got an empty nest now, so I don't need this huge home. I need to downsize. So what is the actual goal? And remember, I said you need to be specific. Use those SMART goals. So first, specific with those things. So when do you expect to make the purchase? You just don't jump up and buy a home. You need to check out interest rates. You may find that if you are a member of this credit union or this bank, you get a certain interest rate. If you've been in the military, you get a different interest rates. There are different types of loans. What is the average price that you're looking for? You don't just go and say, oh, I love that house. You got to know if you can afford the home. Based on the average price, you're going to have additional costs as well. You're going to have insurance. You need to know how much of a down payment you're going to have to make. So all that stuff is things that you need to think about. What area of town do you prefer? Just because you live in a city and you're purchasing a home, that doesn't mean that wherever you see this house that you like, you're going to move there. You need to do some research. You got to be specific. If you have school-aged children, what type of schools are in that area? Do they have here in the United States? Well, in Florida, I don't know if all over the United States, but our schools are ranked by alphabet. So I'm sure if you're going to put your kids in public school, you want a school that's rated A school. So we have A, B, C. You definitely don't want an F school. So you need to do that research. Are there restaurants in the area that the side of town that you prefer? What type of entertainment do they have? Do they have movie theaters? Do they have shopping, grocery stores? What type of grocery stores? Is there a library in that area and other amenities? You need to check out the crime rate. Yes, that is very essential, and that's something that you need to check out when you are looking for a home. There's nothing like that person that got up and just went about bought a home and found out that where they live, their zip code is one of the highest murder rates in the city. That would be horrible. So you need to check out the crime level in the different areas of the city. Uh, Look at what the expected growth pattern is. Like I said, in here in Jacksonville, every time you go somewhere, you see a different subdivision coming up with houses. So, do you want to live where the traffic is going to be horrific in the next 2 to 5 years? Uh, are they planning to build commercial property where you're thinking about moving to? And you're looking at, anywhere between 1 to 5 years, 1 to 10 years. But you need to research the zoning because zoning can change. So you need to know all of this. All of this is very, very important to what we're doing. And yes, Cynthia says research. We should definitely research what it is that we may want, schools, purchasing, starting a business, whatever the case may be, research and make an educated decision. That is so very important. Thank you, Cynthia. Then we need to make sure it's measurable. Now, I said I want to purchase this home. Okay, how can that be measurable? Well, if you don't already have money saved, then you got to have a savings. So you need to be able to monitor that savings. If you say, I'm going to put away $500 a month, $200 a month, or whatever, you need to be able to monitor that to make sure that you're putting that money aside. It's not just something you said you were going to do, and it gets time to close on the home, and you don't have that money. Because if you need X amount of money to close and you don't have it, you won't be signing on the dotted line that day. You need to determine if the housing prices are rising or falling. During the time we purchased our home, which was 2007, we looked at this one house. It was beautiful. It was 2-story. I mean, everything you could think of, it was in this house. And we found that the young lady that had the house built was a realtor. So she had it built. Of course, she knew what to have put in the house or whatever. But when it was time to close, her income, because the market had fallen, had dropped so significantly, she could not afford the home anymore. So you have to check all that out. So this is what I have now that I can afford. But is the market stable? Are prices rising or falling? Very, very important. And you need to keep up with that. I want to purchase a home, but is that something that's attainable for me? What does that mean? What does my income look like against my liabilities? If I'm bringing in $75,000 a year and my bills are $60,000 without a home, can I afford to purchase right now? Or if I make $75,000 a year and my bills are, let's say, $35,000, okay, maybe I can afford a home, but what price range? You have to make sure about that. What kind of I can't talk. What kind of credit score do you have? Have you just been spending and taking credit cards and paying bills late and you have a horrible credit score? If you do, you probably will not be able to purchase a home. They're going to do a deep dive into your credit history because we're talking about a significant purchase. Will you be able to have the down payment when it's time to sign? All of those are key aspects of whether or not the home is attainable for you. Okay. Then you get into relevant, realistic. Okay. You're saying, okay, you know what? I want to buy a house and this is January. So kids get out of school in May. They go back in August. Before they go back, I want us to already be moved into this home. So that's giving you about 7 months. Okay, is that target date gonna match with you being able to save for a down payment if you don't already have money saved? So is it even realistic, that date? So if you have no money saved and you're talking about a nice size mortgage, then that target date may not be realistic. You may have to move that out some. It might be next school year. Excuse me. Okay. And then what is the likelihood that you will have to make any other major purchases before you close? Because again, they don't only just look at your credit at the time you apply, but anything that you do between the time you apply and the time it's time for you to close, they're still looking at that credit score. So you can, I'm getting this new house, so I'm gonna go. I need new linen. I want to have new comforters. I'm gonna get custom drapes. Let me go ahead and make a down payment on that. Let me go ahead and purchase that. It didn't come with appliances because I want to pick my own appliances. Let me go ahead and pay for those. Uh, oh, I like that new Infinity. Oh my goodness. Oh, I gotta buy that. Can you afford it? Right now, yes. You go and buy it, but then you get to the table, the close, you can't close. So that's not realistic because you didn't think about everything that you needed to do. Now you really can't afford this house because you hadn't thought about A to Z. All right. And then we didn't talk about this, but here's a big one. Does the asking price align with similar homes in the area? Because people can ask anything they want. They come in and they make them do an appraisal, and the house may come up to, I'll just say, 350,000. But if they ask you for 450,000 and that's what you're willing to pay, hello. So you have to do your due diligence. You got to go out there and look and do that research again to make sure that you're making a wise decision. I was looking at some homes. I don't normally go, excuse me. I say it's not my regular route, but if a train's on the track, I have to go around. So then it becomes my regular route. But I've noticed this year they put up, like, it was an existing stretch of road, so it's not like a subdivision, but it's on the road, and they had put 2 new homes. So then I saw that they had broke down another lot, and that was like 2-3 weeks ago. I saw they cleared off the lot. Said, oh, they're getting ready to build a third one. Went by yesterday. I had to take that detour. Guess what? They're putting a mobile home there next to that home. So that's going to do something to the value of those 2 new homes that they just put there, because it's a mobile home. Now, did that person in that home do their research to find out what the zoning was in that area? Did they know mobile homes could be placed right next to them? Because that impacts the value of your home. See, this is a significant goal. It's not just one you make like that. And then the last piece of it, time-based. Everything has to be in timing. You don't just go and do it like that. So again, you're thinking you want to make this purchase by a specific date. Are you going to have the funds? Does that date make any sense based on everything that you know that you need to do? You need to save X amount of money. You got some other things you need to pay down. You want to try to get that credit score up. So you need to pay some credit cards off or whatever. All of that is essential in that scenario. So look at that date that you have out there for that goal. Not to say you can't go along and move the date, but when you start out, you want to try to get as close as possible. And then, does your potential purchase date align with when your funds will be available? So, uh, again, you're saving. Are you going to be a consistent saver? Sometimes if we don't have money automatically going to a specific fund, we may put it in there or we may not. Okay, I know I said I'm going to save $500 out of each paycheck, but wow, they just came out with uh, a new Michael Kors bag. I gotta have that one. I don't have one that color. I gotta get that. So you decide you're not gonna put the 500 in there. You only want to put a hundred in there because the bag costs like 360 plus tax. So you have to look at all of those things. So remember, whether it's purchasing a home, saving, having an emergency fund because you don't already have one, even purchasing a car. I know in the scenario I said you just went out because you liked the car and you bought it. But some of these things that I mentioned in purchasing this home, purchasing a car should be a significant goal as well. You just don't go buy something because you like it. I know a car right now I would just love to have. I just saw during COVID when they came out, they used to have the Genesis, which I have 16 Genesis, but now they transitioned. They have a G80 and a G90. So during COVID, the president of the company did this like 45-minute video, everything about this car. I would love to have one, but I have some other goals that I want to save certain amounts of money. I want to have a certain amount in my emergency fund, and I want to have a certain amount in my regular savings fund. So, I just look at people that got them like, ooh, that's a nice car. I'm not ready to purchase one. And so I'm not going to let my eyes get bigger than my goals. I know what my goals are. So when you have those goals, like when you go out to dinner, your eyes get bigger than your stomach, and you get all these things, and just because they heap all this food on your plate, you figure, oh, I gotta sit and eat this, I can't waste it. I always ask for a to-go box before I start. May I have a to-go box? Because I'm not gonna eat it all. I'm gonna take some of it with me. So we have to take those goals and put them in manageable sizes so that we can make sure that we're giving them the focus and the attention that they need, and so that we can reach them in a manageable way and do a great job at doing that. So I hope that talking about how to manage those large, significant goals and break them down has helped you. And I hope you enjoyed this talk that we gave you this morning about this dinner and taking those goals and breaking them down. Because again, it's real people, Anastasia and I, real topics and real talk. And good evening, not evening, good morning, Linda. Thank you for tuning in. So, Anastasia, you want to give us some closing remarks, and including telling us about your platform and any other thing that you're doing, and tell them about your exciting news from Thursday. I love it.
Well, my closing advice would be to, just make sure that whatever it is that you're setting, whatever goal this is that you're setting for yourself, whether this is an academic goal or whether it is along the line of what Miss Deborah was advising us on, buying a home, buying a car, make sure that it's something that brings you joy. Do not bind yourself to a commitment or a decision that you've made, and you're already going through the motions and you're taking the steps and everything like that, but it's not something that's actually making you happy at the end of the day. So just make sure that that has been a part of your planning process, how happy you are in the midst of doing it, and how much happier or how much more it'll add to your life once you've already achieved this goal, because that's going to be a part of what makes you want it even more and what keeps you going toward it. So if you want to reach me, it can be done through my Be Becoming platform. You can search it on Facebook, you can search it on Instagram. It is mainly based in teen mentorship and career counseling. And so that's where I'm at. That's what I'm doing. And enjoy the rest of the Saturday.
You going to tell us about the book?
Oh, oh wow.
Oh, well, the book.
I'll start with Thursday. The what Miss Deborah was talking about for Thursday was my venture into the Toastmasters program, which can also be a part of your goal setting. If your goal is to learn more about public speaking, become more comfortable in talking in front of crowds, network, just any sort of positive self-management, self-building, the program is great. And so I have just started my term of presidency, and I'm looking forward to a great year. But
Thank you. All right. I want to give a disclaimer, first of all. Now, I am not a realtor. I am not a finance expert. I just know that purchasing a home is an excellent example of why and how you need to break down your goals into smaller tasks. So remember, you eat one elephant one bite at a time, and that's the same thing that you need to do with your goals. So if you have a purpose you want to follow and you need assistance, reach out. Someone is assigned to assist you. Reach out and find someone to assist you in building your best life as well. Please visit my website, which is on the screen, www.buildyourbestlife.org. It's www.buildyourbestlife.org. You can read my blog that comes out each Monday. You can look at my calendar of events, as well as find out more about Build Your Best Life. You can visit my store that has all the services that I offer, which is coaching, consultations, speaking, webinar speaking. And again, you can get an autographed copy of my book, Build Your Best Life. And I have them in stock, so you'll get it right away, your autographed copy. If you prefer the Kindle version, that's on Amazon.com. If you're in the Bahamas, Anastasia has them right there in the Bahamas, so no excuses. So make sure you visit my website, and please like my page, share this information with someone that you think will help them. I would appreciate that as well. And if you view me via Facebook or Twitter, please still go out on YouTube and pull up Build Your Best Life and subscribe to my page out on YouTube. I am trying to get more subscribers out on my YouTube page. I would appreciate that. But again, thank you so much for tuning in this Saturday morning, because you could have been doing anything else. So I greatly appreciate you coming on to be with me and Anastasia this morning. Please visit us on Tuesday at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for Build Your Best Life Talk. And we're going to have Pastor Angela Marks on, and we're going to be talking about bogus focus. Bogus focus. So you want to join us on Tuesday at 6:30 p.m. I thank you again so much. Remember, as you go along your road, trying to build a better life, you will, there's no doubt about it, you will run into distractions, rough terrain, and detours. But don't let any of those negative aspects of your journey stop you. Keep going to be a better you so that you can build your best life. And remember, building your best life is our business. That's not a slogan, it's our commitment. I love you. Be blessed. Stay safe. Bye-bye, Anastasia. I appreciate you coming out this morning.
Thanks, Miss Deborah. I love being here. Enjoy your Saturday, everyone.
Bye-bye.